insane!
Live AFL, every week on ABC Australia.
I think it's no secret that the current state of the building sector is dire.
Broken industry. We've not expected living in Australia that this could happen. We trusted the whole
Hello and thanks for joining us for the Midday News. The people of Matupit, Matalau, Nordup and Byward of the Kumbiu LLG of Rabaul District have welcomed a much-needed power supply project that is ready to be rolled out. This follows a successful awareness on the Rural Electricity Program conducted last week in these areas by the Rabaul District Administration, technical officers and representatives from the PNG Power and the contractor Powercom. The awareness exercise and administrative responsibility of the Rabaul District Administration highlighted the positive impacts of the power supply, including improving access to electricity, enhancing living conditions, supporting economic growth and enabling social progress. District Works Engineer Meli Munulai said before the project is rolled out, maintenance and repair work will be conducted on feeder roads to provide accessibility for this service, while confirming that road clearance will begin by the end of August this year. Mr. Munulai appealed to the communities to remove fruit trees and gardens to pave way for the project. The government states that projects under the Connect PNG program are designed to improve connectivity to people in rural areas. Chief Secretary to the government, Ivan Pomaleu, informed participants that the high-level seminar workshop held recently in Port Moresby, the importance of the projects.
Chief Secretary to Government Ivan Pomaleu said access to quality basic services for more than 1 million people living in rural areas is often very difficult. He said inherent in processes for the successful completion of the Connect PNG program is the consideration to establish new systems and processes at the planning, design, procurement and quality management stages. Emphasizing what the government wants to achieve is to unlock opportunities for thousands, if not millions, of our rural population. Pomaleu stated that the people need to be connected in some way to important services delivery points right across the country. He added that everyone is collectively responsible to ensure our fellow citizens have the same opportunities. Salome Vincent, TVWAN News.
Minister for Fisheries and Marine Resources Jelta Wong shared the vision of government captured through the medium-term development plan to ensure that resources including fisheries and marine resources are transitioning. He stated this when signing a memorandum of understanding with the Gulf Provincial Government on Sunday, July 16, 2023. Minister Wong said there are big plans to make Gulf the prawn fingerling hub of the country and create an unrealized revenue stream in the province. Gulf Governor Sir Chris Haiveta asked the National Fisheries Authority to consider mangrove habitat protection program and awareness to ensure the protection and sustainability of the industry is in the province. The National Agriculture Quarantine and Inspection Authority does not come under the Department of Agriculture and Livestock. Managing Director Joel Alu clarified the common misconception, saying NACIA was established under the National Agriculture Quarantine Inspection Authority Act in 1997.
We want budget appropriation, but the good thing is that the MTDS4 that were launched last week captures biosecurity. We are happy that there will be budget appropriation through that policy document, because before the previous policy document, NACIA was never captured, because everybody thought that we are under DAL. But when you look at the Nagi Act, the current Nagi Act 1997, Nagi is a separate by authority. It's an authority of its own. But because everybody perceived that at the Department of Finance or Treasury, National Planning, that we are under DAL, they were trying to fund us to DAL. And when it was funded to DAL, we got nothing. But under the current policy that was launched last week, there's huge funding for biosecurity. So we're happy that, we thank the government that we're happy that biosecurity has been recognized.
In regional news, labelled as epidemic, domestic violence accounts for more than half of the murders in New South Wales. A 4-day police operation has targeted some of the most dangerous offenders, with hundreds arrested and charged.
At Hillsdale in Sydney's east,
police, FBI, come to the door now, ma'am.
a surprise knock.
Come to the door now, it's police. Police? Yes.
Wearing bulletproof vests, police search for firearms.
Police, FBI, open the door!
They also paid a visit to Auburn in the city's west. This is Operation Amarok, a blitz targeting the state's most dangerous domestic violence offenders. It ran from Wednesday to Saturday, with more than 590 people arrested and 1,100 charges laid. For this man, those included choking and stalking. On Wednesday, he arrived at work in Pemulwuy in a truck and left in a police van.
In another instance, the police were going to visit a victim to ensure that she was safe, and on arrival, sighted the offender outside the house.
The alleged offender at Jordan Springs ran from officers before being arrested and charged with assault, as well as breaching an apprehended domestic violence order. This is the third Operation Amarok this year, and police warn it won't be the last.
I think what it demonstrates is that there are a lot of people out there that aren't complying with, the ABOs.
Police are lobbying the government for the power to treat the worst domestic violence offenders the same way as organised criminals and terrorists. One idea is to bring in something similar to serious crime prevention orders, which carry harsher penalties for breaches than apprehended domestic violence orders. The police minister says the government will sit down with police and take their advice on Operation Amarok and what more can be done to combat this appalling epidemic of violence, with a focus on preventing more deaths.
New laws could make it harder to evict South Australia's tenants and double the notice they get when they have to move on. The state government says it's trying to address the rental crisis, but some landlords are warning they'd rather quit the market than comply.
Some potential relief for tenants in the nation's tightest rental market.
I've heard stories about people who have complained about a leaky tap, and when their 12-month lease is up, they're out.
The state government is preparing new laws to stop landlords evicting tenants without a proper cause, such as breaches or unless they plan to renovate, sell or take over the property. It also wants to double the notice period to end tenancies to 60 days.
Vacancy rates are less than 1%. Any measure that's introduced to try and help people in terms of being able to find alternative accommodation is a good one.
You see lineups out the door of like 20 people deep that are filling in rental applications before, so it's super stressful.
It took me 3 to 4 months, and I had to apply a lot.
But landlords say the changes will push them out of the rental market and tighten supply.
The tenant's going to be given notice and there's going to be conflict. A lot of people don't want to go through the stress. They'd rather just get up and sell and get out of the market.
Passage through Parliament is not guaranteed. The opposition says the focus should be on supporting tenants in negotiating with landlords instead.
There is no doubt that this latest reform will put people off offering their properties up for rental, and as a consequence the rental crisis will get worse.
That's the balance, is making sure the changes we make in residential tenancies is protecting tenants but not causing any issues on supply, because that is the real problem here.
The government says it'll introduce the bill to Parliament by the end of the year.
In sports, with but just one round remaining before finals kick off in the Pepsi Capital Rugby Union competition, Wanderers have the slightest of chance to squeeze into the top 4 in the Premier Division. Brothers and Defence are certain for the finals, but University Piggies and Harlequins will have to fight hard in the final round of the competition next weekend to lock up their spots. The Wanderers' 23-20 win against MBB Marlins on Saturday has put the team in a position to give a final crack on the finals bet. The 20-point draw between the University Piggies and Harlequins have opened the door for the Wanderers to rather test the muscles for the last time. The Wanderers will be hoping to make wonders so that things work in their favour. Thousands of spectators will be descend on Sydney's sporting venues for the Women's World Cup. In the Moore Park precinct, lights displays from this year's Vivid Festival are being installed as part of the state government's program to improve public safety.
It may be safe during the day, but as night falls, the dark at Moore Park makes some women wary.
Don't feel safe at all at night. I don't even like going out at night, let alone walking around.
There has been a few times when I've been coming home from work where I've definitely walked quickly.
When you walk around at night, especially as a young woman, I do feel quite vulnerable.
The state government will light up the Moore Park precinct for the Women's World Cup, with recycled Vivid installations to be put up between public transport stops to ensure fans can walk safely to and from games. It's part of a $30 million program aimed at making Sydney more secure.
A safer city for women and girls is, of course, a safer city for everyone. So this is actually a program about all community members.
It comes after a new survey by Transport for New South Wales found nearly 60% of women don't feel safe in public after dark. That's almost double the number of men who felt the same way. 9 in 10 women said safety influenced how they move around, with more than 3/4 saying they would walk more if they felt secure in public.
Things that help public space feel safer for women include lighting, if it's easy to find your way around, if it looks cared for, and if there are people around.
The lights to be installed here at Moore Park won't be on every night. They'll only be used when games are on and are being temporarily trialled, with hopes they'll be made a permanent fixture.
We're really hoping that people love the lighting treatments, that they do feel safe.
The first Women's World Cup match at the Sydney Football Stadium is next Sunday.
Parramatta Hills retained its position inside the top 8 after Mitchell Moses' field goal iced a gripping 25-24 comeback victory over Gold Coast. With Clint Gutterson, Moses and prop Regan Campbell-Gillard all back and firing after missing last week's 46-10 belting from the Warriors, a 6th win from their past 7 matches left Parramatta in the 7th spot at the conclusion of the round 20. In Sunday's early matches, Penrith held on to top spot on the ladder with a 24-14 win over Dolphins, while the Warriors moved up to 4th place with a convincing 44-12 victory over Cronulla. That's it for the midday news. More at the 6 p.m.
Back in the 80s, the economy was...